Remember that time that
I remember what time?
remember that time when we saw Avatar and I like brought that girl I was hanging out with who had also worked there the same time as you did, and I was like, maybe you guys can catch up and figure things out, and she like didn't want to talk to you at all. She was just being weird, like not talking to anybody.
Hmm. Well,
That sounds
sometimes
like
you get
someone who knew
uncomfortable.
Matt.
No, I'm pretty sure that neither of us like actually recognize you there because there's like good 50 people working at that station.
That is pretty good. Now there's who knows how many people working there. My
I
little
don't know.
cousin's going there.
They still
1 trillion.
exist, which is almost surprising at this point.
That is absolutely surprising.
I think it's one of the only college radio stations left. At least it's not just like
Yeah.
streaming or something. Yeah.
Yeah, WRAS is doing that. It's like I just can't bring myself to listen to a stream of that when I could listen to anything I want.
Right. Exactly. Hey Luke, how do you want to? Well, I guess you should probably finish that first, but we have to come up with the alternate beginning for this one, I guess.
How old are you, Mark?
46.
For birthday number 46. Happy birthday, Mark.
Yay! It's violence for my birthday, just what I wanted.
Birthday, birthday, birthday. Yeah, that's
Is
the
that our
birthday song.
non-copyright birthday song?
Yeah, I think that copyright is actually expired, so I believe the
Mhm.
birthday
Well, it
song
wasn't.
now is properly public domain.
I don't think it was expired. I think it was was legally battled to death for like 40 years before it went into public domain.
Not just one
Um,
night, as is the case in today's film, The
well,
Warriors.
think about this. Everyone who's ever made anything film related would love to get on a class action lawsuit to be able to use happy birthday.
Oh yeah, for sure. So
Do you
we
want to
all
explain why we're doing the Warriors right now?
Yes, please do.
what? No, that's you. I explain who.
Why you explain why
That's your
there
concept
is
that we have these birthday pics or whatever.
Oh. Okay. Sorry, I thought we were
yeah.
explaining the reason why The Warriors is today's movie, which would be Mark's Milieu. This is Matt. Luke is asking me questions. That covers everyone, I think. Yeah. So
And it's Mark's birthday.
it's yeah. Well, just we're stuck. We're on a track, like a list. The list must happen. So it seems for birthday you can like throw in something else, right? Something that you want to
Yes.
consider if it's a film or a flith or a filth or whatever.
I think the
Um,
first time you suggested it, you were like, suggest a bad movie, but I refuse. I
I
refuse
mine's
to
We'll do
see
that
I don't
next
a
year.
bad movie.
I don't think anyone's picking a bad one this first round. So
Probably never.
we can't reveal what the other ones are. You don't even know what mine are, I think. So but
I
we're not
don't.
close to
You
my
haven't
birthday.
said
You
it.
don't have no, I haven't. It's a mystery. I have the
I
knowledge.
love how it's like if you can't tell people inside baseball, then you're just gonna say things like you don't know. You don't know what's happening. You
None
don't know
of
what's
you know what's
happening.
happening.
No, but also me and you don't know, not just the audience.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's exciting for everyone.
but
Um
maybe Matt doesn't know.
Matt knows. Okay.
It's
So
gonna be
why
some mad shit from the 70s that I'm
that's
barely
what
gonna be
this
able to
is.
like to keep watching. No,
That's
this
what
is some sensible shit from the 70s. You're gonna put on
Yeah.
some borderline 3 hour music video.
Oh, is it the man who fell to earth? Jesus, please no.
it's not the 70s. Anyway,
Okay.
Mark, why the Warriors? I have not seen the Warriors before. You are also very specific that we watched the theatrical cut, not the 2005 Flurkled director's cut, which yeah.
To me, this movie is singular. I don't know anything that's quite like it. It's sort of a Wizard of Oz gang movie that's also futuristic. It's set in the near future of 1979. It's absurd. It's sort of like the ultimate Halloween movie, but also it's very dark and pensive and slow and dark.
Very
Um,
slow is good for you then. Okay.
yeah, well, there's nothing like this that I know of. So
It is
I
at a
was like,
correct.
let's throw a unique movie in, and it's also 7.5, so people seem to like it if IMDb voters mean anything, which they don't. But
Well, I'd say this is at a 92-minute proper movie length. At least the
yes,
theatrical cut is. I don't know about the other one, but I don't assume they had that much.
Um, but of my short list, this was almost battle royale. So, and I think battle royale and this have a lot in common.
See, I kind of this is the first time I was watching it, so my mind triangulation was this is somewhere between like After Hours, Mad Max, and Switchblade Sisters. Like,
Yes, those are all amazing movies.
yeah, but those are ones I've seen, whereas I haven't seen this one before. So, I mean, did I like it better than the three I just mentioned? I don't think so, but yeah, maybe you have to live with it a little bit or something. I mean, you do start to like all the ridiculous gangs and stuff that come through. That's cool.
It's an absurd movie, but it's also a very straightforward movie. Like it's you sort of have to take it as it comes. But my history with this, the first time I actually saw it was as a young 20 something. I was at MJQ, a bar in Atlanta, which I think Matt you've been to.
I
It's like
think
an
so.
underground bar where the bar is just lit red. It's like literally underground. And I'm seeing a band or something, and I see on the TV just with no sound the bathroom fight towards the end of the movie, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Because people are just getting thrown into mirrors and smashing stuff. So I just sat at the bar and watched the entire rest of the movie and figured out what it was by the end of it,
Yeah. Would you have
because I'd heard
considered
of it.
yourself a hooligan at the time?
Not like this kind of hooligan.
No, okay. Different kind of hooligan. So
Maybe a casual. I don't know. Like was there a gang that didn't do anything? Well, I'm like the baseball Furies where they don't hit anybody, even though they do have baseball bats.
yeah. Well, the
I
orphans
think they
just have cheap
tried. This
T-shirts.
one good at.
They tried. They did supply a bat that was later used to do a sick
Hmm.
maneuver on a cop. So that was cool.
Uh, Luke, this is your first time, I assume. Well, actually, I don't assume. I don't know that. Have you seen this
Yeah,
before?
this is my first
He
time
said it.
seeing this film. I was aware of this film mostly because of the PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah. Very good adaptation or sequel, I guess.
Hmm. That's what I've always heard. Is like, oh, it really captures the spirit. Blah 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 blah. I've never played the game either. It's in that era of like the guys who now make the gaming podcasts I listen to are at the prime age to like that game, so it gets spoken about a lot. So
Yeah, I was the right age to play that, I think. Maybe
Yeah.
a little old, actually.
It seems from what I was just looking at the wiki, I haven't played them, but it seems like 2005 was maybe the one you're talking about. And then said there was a side
Yes.
scroller in 2009, and that got
Uh-huh.
my attention more. I'm like, if I'm doing the Warriors, because that's like, I mean, basically Final
Oh,
Fight, like, is this right?
wait, are there two different the Rockstar game, which I think is what Luke's talking about, is a side scroller, but it's more complicated and modern. It was sort of an unusual game for the time.
Okay, I'm just saying Final Fight was basically this
Well,
movie
Final Fight was dumber
already.
than that game, but
Well, you
you
just
know,
you just punch people and throw them. It's great. Yeah, you know this.
yeah. Uh,
Those are the gamers that dig it, I guess. But yeah. So the
I
other movie coming in, the one I confused it with, like I've always had these conflate in my mind just because of the
mhm.
title. I mean, they're nothing alike, but I was like thinking, did Mark choose The Outsiders?
Oh, I don't think I've seen that. Was that
I
Francis Ford Coppola?
Yeah, I'm guessing that's a very different trip than the Warriors, but it's just the somethings, and it's just on
Yeah.
either side 1980. So seems like you could mix them up, having not watched either of them until recently. So
This is straight up the most exploitation ass movie. I don't think that Francis Ford Coppola could make this. No offense to him.
oh yeah, no. There's, I mean, they're not. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I
Yeah.
confused the words in my mind because they
It's
kind of sound like ones you'd put together.
it's not the
Outsider
most
Warriors.
original or interesting title, but it is based on a book. So there you go.
hmm.
Um,
My
I,
main knowledge of this film before I watched it was I vaguely knew what the plot was. And one of my friends, whenever we drank beers from bottles, would do the "What is come out
Yes.
and play?" So I knew that then.
Yeah. Apparently that guy made that up,
Ah,
which is amazing. He
ad
improvised
did you
it.
libbing.
recognize that guy from anything else?
He looked like Sean Penn, but he's not Sean Penn.
No, I immediately recognized him. He's hey Sully. You remember when I said I'd kill you last? I lied.
Oh,
Commando.
wow. Okay, that makes yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right.
He's great at being sort of a slightly dweeby, villainous little shit you can't wait to see get murdered.
Yeah. Yeah, he was going for it in this for sure.
Hey,
Like,
if you know what your type is, get casting it, right? Um,
yep.
Mark, you want to do a story rundown? Your birthday present is you have
Yeah.
to write the summary.
Yay, that's just what I wanted. Okay. Sometime in the near future of 1979, the biggest summit of gangs in New York's history is called to declare a truce. The Warriors is one of those gangs. Cyrus, the leader of the Gramercy Rifts, is making a speech calling for gangs to control the whole city together, which might be a bad thing. When he's fatally shot by Luther, a maniac in a gang called the Rogues. When Luther realizes that Fox, one of the warriors, saw him take the shot, he starts screaming that the warriors did it, and everyone believes him. The warriors have escaped the mayhem, thinking that they're just running from the cops and that the truce might be over, not knowing that everyone everywhere wants to either kill them or turn them in. They start making their way through the territory of an inept gang called the Orphans, taking their leader's girlfriend Mercy with them, who is not his girlfriend anymore now. They split up after the cops start chasing them. Fox gets thrown in front of a train. Vermin, Cochise, and Rembrandt are taken in by the Lizzies, who are friendly until they aren't. Ajax tries to sexually assault a woman who turns out to be a cop and gets arrested, and Cowboy and Snow escape because fuck Ajax. Swan and Mercy make their way to Union Square, and just when the other warriors catch up with them, it's time to beat the shit out of a gang called the Punks in a men's bathroom. Then they make it to Coney Island, where Luther is waiting. He tells the warriors that he shot Cyrus for no reason. Then he pulls a gun on Swan, but Swan's knife throwing is faster than his gun. The Gramercy Rifts then show up to painfully kill Luther because someone finally told them what actually happened. The warriors are good.
Yay for gang violence.
Yay.
The most violent gang of all gets to be the winner. So the commando thing aside, I feel like I had a few wiki dives and it doesn't really seem like we have any breakout stars here. So can we just go with the guy who played Swan, the lady who played Mercy? Yeah. Sorry, I was getting confused because of Luke there, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, like
yeah. Obviously, the one female character in this having the same name as my girlfriend was slightly distracting.
which it said that
I feel like
it
I
wanted
do.
Sigourney
So Michael
Weaver.
Beck played Swan. I feel like I recognize him from something, but it doesn't look like I do.
That I had the same thing. I was like, Michael Beck. That sounds like a guy, right? And then I clicked on the weekend. I was like, well, he's just like I think the guy who plays
Xanadu Battle
Cyrus.
Truck Megaforce is an
Wow.
incredible series of films to have in a row on your Wikipedia.
But it doesn't make you a household name necessarily. So,
No.
but yes, being a Megaforce is of note. So we're giving that.
He was on Babylon 5 once.
Now, this is the production stories here are relatively amusing. And Mark, do you know what I'm about to cite as the most amusing one?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
There's a
Oh,
few.
also, I was going to say, I think we were having some overlap there, but yeah, they actually wanted Sigourney Weaver to play Mercy originally, and that didn't happen. Which I don't think that I think the way it worked out is fine.
She's great. This Mercy's great.
Yeah, she's great. So, just interesting fun fact. The other one is the guy that played Fox and Walter Hill, the director, did not get along at all because Fox was actually supposed to be the main hero. He was supposed to be like, or the protagonist. He was going to be Swan at the end, right? So I guess they made the movie relatively chronologically, and Walter Hill and this guy just kept getting more and more at odds with each other. Where Hill basically tells the stunt coordinator, "Kill the character now." So that's why he just gets pushed in front of a train. It was like, what can we do to get rid of this guy right here and now? And it was push him in front of a train. Like Hill thought this guy was going to be like the next James Dean when he hired him, like, and he was going to be the star of the film. But yeah, he was. They just, I mean, maybe they're both annoying. That's usually the case in situations like this, right? Because Walter Hill, I think, has his own reputation anyway. But yeah, it's like it's the only time I've heard where it's like, just change the script now and kill this guy. I want him off set. We've already been filming for 4 weeks. I can't recast him.
Well, I see here that Vermin was supposed to be killed by the Lizzies, which makes sense because it felt like someone was supposed to die in that scene. But the guy who played Vermin just decided to make the character more comical and memorable, so the death scene was taken out. So like one guy dies and one guy gets to survive because of because
Comedic timing.
exploitation, because of how these movies are made, basically.
But I did find interesting that this one really was made like story wise, like on the fly, which I don't know. That's kind of cool because it's still a studio production, right? So, um,
Yeah, I mean it's doesn't feel improvised.
I mean, we can go out there and make our own warriors if we have enough money for craft service tables, right? So,
Well, the key is to make it simple, and that's part of why I like this movie. It's just a very go from point A to point B. It's a quest. It's a magical quest, just like the movie that we watched last week.
Mm.
yes. Which one are you
Can't
referring to?
remember what that was.
Return of the in the name of the king of the
Dragon
Uvable
sieging. Okay,
of the
sorry.
dragon dungeon
I
siege.
didn't know if you meant that or you were facetiously meaning Once Upon a Time in America. So, because that was actually
Oh,
last week.
oh, whoops.
Because sometimes I can't read. I've lived in Japan so long, I can't read sarcasm anymore. I don't know when people are being sarcastic or not.
Damn, that must really suck to talk to me then.
Uh, yeah, I'm constantly surrounded by Americans who cannot understand British humor at all.
I think I do
Because
okay, but I've absorbed a
Americans
lot of
have
British
I mean,
humor.
you don't do this, Mark, but a lot of
Yeah.
Americans, and this is why I don't like most American comedy. You have to do a voice when you're telling a joke, which to me ruins the joke.
I think
Yeah,
a
I could
good
see that.
deadpan is worthwhile.
Yeah, deadpan's
Well,
very sad.
Yeah.
yeah, Americans are so weird about comedy. Like, I know we'd sort of gone into this in a previous episode, but wanted to like there are okay, two separate times I was talking to like a woman at a party or something, and we feel like we're getting along and they're kind of funny, and then I add them on social media and they're not funny at all on social media, and I find out they've been
Mm.
taking improv classes. So it was like they were just practicing improv on me.
They can't improv on the internet.
I guess not. It was kind of sad, really.
I mean, our social media things are very different than our actual beings,
Not
right?
not
Which is,
mine. I am myself on social media. I
are, are you
maybe
sure? Are you sure? You can't be
shit.
too
Yeah,
sure.
I'm
Now I'm
constant. I
doubting
feel like
myself.
I'm regularly one step away from getting banned from social media because I'm too myself.
I have
Like,
been
and not a
banned.
day goes by I don't wish death on Elon Musk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my Facebook could have been deleted. Like one of the last things I posted before my Facebook was hacked and deleted was a criticism of Facebook. So who knows, really?
Nice.
I did consider getting
Yeah.
rid of it to the point where I downloaded everything, but then I started doing podcasts and needed it for communication. So,
I just need
Yeah.
Facebook because I use Messenger to talk to my whole family.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at, right? So the messenger is still very
Yeah.
useful, but otherwise I just use it kind of to promote these podcasts or whatever a little bit. But Facebook's not the best place to do that anyway. I think because yeah, it is starting to
How
become like
annoying
the
do you think the Warriors would be on social media?
they'd break
It
their
would just be
phones
like
too much.
one of like half of them wouldn't be able to spell, and they would constantly be like not taking off my vest to go to the bathroom. It'd be stuff like that.
It would be like a misspelled QAnon times Vax. That's what it would just say that. You wouldn't know
Yeah.
what they meant by that.
Yeah, Ajax would constantly be posting like conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Or just he'd be posting pictures of like beautiful women and saying like, "No, I think she's mid. She's not that hot."
Just a six. It's
Yeah.
um I guess the most important question here is what is your favorite wacky gang? Can't choose the Warriors, right? They got nice vests, I
I
guess.
did enjoy the makeup on the baseball gang.
That was fun.
Yeah. Baseball Furies are kind of my favorite, even if they don't actually hit anybody. It's just so fun.
And I like the
I
Um,
Lizzies because obviously I like the idea of a violent gang of lesbians.
yeah.
you need
And they were
have you seen Switchblade Sisters?
Of course not.
Holy
If
shit.
you haven't shown me it, I'm not going to have seen one of these films, Matt.
well, do you guys want to hear a list of all the gangs that did and didn't make it into the script?
Let's do it.
Yes,
The Alley
obviously I
Cats,
did.
the Amsterdam All Stars, the Baseball Furies, the Black Hands, the Blackjacks, the Big Trains, the Boppers, the Boyle Avenue Runners, the Charlemagnes, the Colt 45s, the Dealers, the Delaney Rovers, the Destroyers, the Dingoes, the E Street Blazers, the Easy Aces, the Electric Eliminators, the 8th Street Bombers, the Fastballs, the 5th Street Bombers, the Fillmores, the Fire Tasters, the 5 Points, the Gerards, the Gladiators, the Gohards, the Gun Hill Dancers, the Gramercy Riffs, the Hi-Hats, the High Rollers, the Homeboys, the Hoplites, the Howitzers, the Hucks,
God damn it,
Huks,
he's on H.
the Hurricanes, the Imps, the Jesters, the Jones Street Boys, the Judas Bunch, the Jupiters, the Knockdowns, the Knuckles, the Lizzies, the Locos, the Magicians, the Meatpackers, the Mongols, the Moonrunners, the Napoleons, the Nickel Stakes, the Night Riders, the Ninth Avenue Razors, the Orphans, the Panzers, the Phillies, the Plainsmen, the Punks, the Queensbridge Mutilators, the Real Boys, the Red Hook Shooters, the Roadmasters, the Rogues, the Romans, the Runaways, the Saracens, the Saratogas, the Savage Huns, the Shanghai Sultans, the Southern Cross, the Speedwagons, the Sports, the Stevedores, the Stilettos, the Stonebreakers, the Terriers, the Turks, the Turnbull ACs, the Van Cortlandt Rangers, the Warriors, the Whispers, the Xenophones, the Xylophone, the Yo-Yos, the Youngbloods, the Zodiacs, and the Zulus.
If you just hit your forward 30 seconds on your phone 4 times, welcome back. I mean, it was like, yeah, well, one, Luke didn't know what was happening when he said yes.
Stonebreakers, not the
Stonecutters.
Oh yeah, Stonecutters is the one from Homer Simpson joint. You knew where I was going.
I knew where you were going.
Yeah, I did actually trick you guys into saying that you did want to hear the list, knowing how long the list was. But
yeah,
also I tricked the listeners.
Is this a list from the book, or is this like just production of the film sort of list?
This is from IMDb, our favorite website.
Right, but
this could just be bollocks that some idiot wrote.
Yeah, it's true. But
certainly
336 people found it helpful, and only 10 found it unhelpful.
Oh, okay.
They might just be all the gangs from the video game.
Yeah. It may be the 336
non-canon.
people. The 336 people who found it helpful were all the different gangs.
Each one belonged to one of them.
60,000 members in all the gangs of New York. Which I'm not sure I trust his math on that.
What's the city of?
Yeah, I don't
even
think
at this time
60,000 extras here.
What, they're 10 million in the city? I guess that's. Well, they only sent 9 from each gang, right? So you wouldn't have 60,000 in the park.
No.
That would be because then the police would probably just blow up the park.
So this is 30 miles, 44 kilometers. I walked home when the train stopped a few years ago, and just a little less than that. I wasn't wearing gang colors. That helped. I was also in Japan. That helped. But I mean, they could just throw on a T-shirt and walk home, maybe.
No, they can't do that.
Too much pride. Is it the sin of pride because they got to wear their swank vests?
Yes,
okay.
The sin of pride.
Yeah.
You can't go bopping without your proper uniform.
Yeah, it is fun that they don't even know what's going on until like more than halfway through the movie.
Yeah, I mean that makes it work because they keep getting just sideswiped by everything.
Yeah. So with I guess the Lizzie's being the final swipe, but yeah, it's almost like not as fun when they know what's going on, right? Except then they get a bathroom.
The line where he reveals that they know what's going on. I was like, oh shit! You mean they didn't know what was going on until now? I hadn't realized they didn't know what was going on until they did know what was going on.
Yeah, this movie does a lot of show and don't tell. Like I had to look up a lot of names. They're characters whose names are never spoken the entire movie, and like I think kind of a lot of them.
I mean, they don't like we were mentioning Final Fight earlier. It gives you like every goon's name with their health bar, but I don't need it. They're just goons to be punched.
Yeah.
Getting back to my first point, though, not that I got interrupted. I'm just saying I wanted to ask, how many Tokyo kilometers have you logged in one day?
In one day?
Yeah.
Specifically Tokyo?
I mean, you could tell us a mountain if you want, but I was looking for the urban landscape.
An urban landscape, I think somewhere in the 60s.
Okay, wow. So you're way past the Warriors or pussies.
Walking to Matsumoto was like 80.
Yeah, okay.
And
yeah, that's
mountains, and that really fucked up my legs.
Yeah, that's like
See, from you to here is better because it's all flat, right?
Yeah.
Like a very
but I did that one in jeans like an idiot.
That's yeah. When I did it was like in the middle of the night because the trains weren't running, so I got home at 3 a.m.
Hmm.
So I,
Last time,
kind of like
oh,
this without the baseball punk. Sorry, that's the wrong name. I got it wrong. I mixed two.
I mean, for me,
Idiot.
I guess what's 15 miles in kilometers? Not
20
much,
something.
right?
Like 23. So you could only do half of the
Eh,
Warriors walk.
yeah,
So
I probably wouldn't make it. I'm not in Warriors shape.
you'd pass out in Times
I
Square
will
maybe.
say that those long walks that me and Matt are talking about, I didn't have to fight like even a single goon.
Maybe some mosquitoes.
Oh,
Did you have to fight some mosquitoes? I had to fight the mosquitoes to get to Matsumoto.
sounds hard.
Yeah,
Fighting mosquitoes.
yeah.
Well,
No, I had to skeet the mosquitoes.
oh, that sounds disgusting.
No, I mean by that.
Oh, and I was gonna say, just while we're talking gangs, I had some love for just how shitty the orphans were. They were entertainingly
Yeah,
Yeah.
shitty. Like that was
yeah,
great. Like I think they, in a way, they are my favorite of the gangs because they're just like they're not even invited to the party. They just have orphans on the back of like an olive green T-shirt. It's just like, yeah, it's very much a
yeah. It's
Mickey
like,
Mouse operation, which they know too. They know that they suck.
yeah, yeah. What's the whole thing. It's the movie. The humor comes from look at these dipshits, and then they kind of show back up. They're like, "Ugh, now we're gonna fight you," and yeah, nobody knows who they are. It's even a scene later where the riffs are like, we don't know who they are.
Oh, yeah, they bumped into some guys called the orphans. I don't know. They're not on our network.
It's great.
Orphans suck.
Uh, yeah, well, they got theirs, I guess, or they got theirs. They keep languishing in obscurity.
Now, do we see less of them in a Clockwork Orange? But how do these gangs rate to the Clockwork gangs?
We don't
Maybe,
see what like crimes they get up to. So I have less reason to like hate these gangs. But I'm sure if we were seeing their day-to-day life, they are equally horrendous.
It was really a style question more than that. But yeah.
this sort of follows the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure model, where it's sort of like ostensibly this is about a bunch of gangs, but our heroes are kind of heroic and they're on a heroic quest,
But
which doesn't
only
make a lot of
part
sense.
5 of JoJo is about gangs.
That is true.
And he specifically wants to use his power in the mafia to make Italy better. He's
But
using the gangs as means to an end. Well, I mean, Mark, I have not even got to that part yet, but
oh,
my girlfriend has an entire wall of her bedroom dedicated to 2 characters from that part.
nice.
So
Last week,
let's not even start talking about JoJo's right now.
I have to
Well,
add one more thing. One more thing. Last, because I haven't seen it, but last week I impressed my daughter by learning how to play roundabout on guitar.
Nice.
nice.
So
Oh
she's
yeah.
like, because she likes JoJo. So that's what she got from the DVD rental apocalypse. She got like 30 JoJo DVDs. So
That's it.
You're a good father.
I haven't seen it though. And also roundabout's
Um,
easier to play than you think. Like it sounds hard, but it's not that hard.
you should
We're
watch it.
currently
It's
watching
great.
through it on Netflix, but I've also read much further ahead in the manga.
I need to read because I know that it's going to take a million years for Steel Ball Run to come out on animated series, and it's going to be a million episodes if they even do it.
So are we saying JoJo is the classist gangs? Me not knowing much about these gangs at all, other than
Well,
DVD covers.
the thing about JoJo's is just the story is always different. Their
Yeah,
themes.
it's like what would you call it? What's the film called? What's the Wachowski film that you like, Matt?
Cloud
Cloud
Atlas.
Atlas.
Yeah, it's kind of like Cloud Atlas.
Oh,
They're
okay.
all different descendants of the Jotaro family,
Not like so. It's
fighting
not as much
different
like
forms of evil.
Blackadder.
Or
Well,
Blackadder, yeah, it's like a Blackadder but with ridiculous shonen violence.
do you care about spoilers at all? Either of you?
I
Just
don't.
for the Italian arc.
Yeah, no, please don't tell me because that's my
Okay.
girlfriend's favorite and I haven't read it yet.
Okay, he's
There
gonna
is-
get to the Italian job.
There is
No, you've
some
been told to shut
really
up. You can't talk. You have to
interesting
stop talking now.
family tree.
Shut your
Family tree's
bitch
interesting.
mouth, you cunt.
We'll talk about it sometime in the future.
Oh yeah, sure.
I
I
like.
just wanted to yell that at you.
I did enjoy again having done the not recently having done the late night DJ job. I did enjoy the DJ instructions. That was
Oh,
definitely
that was
fun.
great. And
Yeah,
that's definitely been ripped off by a bunch of video games.
yeah,
Like
yeah. This
every
Having
is a
like
Grand
a
very
little
Theft
video
Auto.
DJ giving
gamey.
you exposition.
It's such a video gamey movie. It didn't really hit me until this watch. It was like, yeah, man, this is very Kojima-esque sometimes. Like everyone's names are exactly what they are.
Yeah.
The murderer's name's Luther.
Am I right?
Die Hard Man,
But
Yeah.
Cold Man.
I
Yeah,
was
the leader of the Rifts is basically Die Hardman, kind
I
of.
was throwing out I was throwing out Final Fight as me. That's what I came away as, like the video game version of this until they actually made one. Would you like to correct me as I'm the least gamery here? Maybe I'm like I don't know, Double Dragon. Is that a better fit? What is the
Just
best?
I think
all of
this in
those scrolling beaters. This is definitely inspired. Mad World was the one I was thinking of. If I've ever played that, it was a one of the lesser known Platinum games. It was on the Wii.
I
But it's
actually downloaded it and haven't played it yet, but it's on my list because what did the guy make? He made something else that was really
uh,
interesting.
specifically Mad World.
I'll look it up while you're talking.
But in that one, you have like you're doing like ridiculous violence, but it's all like commentated on like a game show, and like there's a TJ talking about what you're doing. I think it's
Nice.
Bender from Futurama is one of the voice guys doing commentary
Huh,
on all of your Uber violence.
interesting.
Um,
Yeah, but yeah, what Jet Set Radio had a DJ and Fallout 3 had
mhm.
a DJ and he made God Hand.
Okay, yeah, it was the God Hand guy. Oh
Okay.
yeah, he also
Well
made
then.
Resident Evil 4.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Shinji Mikami is like one of the all times.
Yeah.
Made Resident Evil 1.
Wait. I'm looking at Atsushi Inaba.
Oh, maybe he wasn't the director of God Hand, but maybe he was involved.
Yeah, you're right.
He was not the God Hand of God
Games.
Hand.
God Hand is
Hmm.
particularly interesting. Apparently,
He's
like,
a
so that game
producer.
is somewhat beloved, but not super successful. The
Mhm.
director decided that for this project, instead of trying to make a popular game, he was just going to pick one member of his staff and make the perfect game for that dude.
That's awesome.
So he would like, as he's making the game, he'd just be running it by this one guy. Like, do you like it? Yeah. You want me to change that? Okay. And just try to make the perfect game for this one guy.
You like furries, do you?
Well,
I mean, it does involve a fair amount of spanking.
oh yeah, the announcers are Bender from Futurama and Greg Proops from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Sick.
I gotta play this. This looks great. Someday.
What is the guy's name? Because it's like it's not is it Joe DiMaggio, like the baseball player?
John
John
DiMaggio.
DiMaggio.
John. Okay, see that's why I've been confused for so many years. Joe and
Well, it's
John,
like
you don't really see the difference when you just glance at the name.
coincidentally, it being my birthday, the day after my birthday, actually, one of my favorite games of all time, which is a game that Matt, you turned me on to, actually, Might and Magic Clash of Heroes, was just given a Switch release today. Have you played
Mm,
that, Luke?
no, that sounds like something I would not enjoy.
You have
It
it
is
in
a
your
puzzle
apartment
game.
now.
It is a
Oh
puzzle
yeah.
game where you it's sort of a puzzle strategy hybrid where you just line up a bunch of armies and you form
Oh, I
walls
remember
and
seeing it in
fight
magazines
stuff.
back in the day. Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
Matt's big stack of DS games, so I could play it, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Give it a
100
shot. You might
there.
like it. You might
I
not.
did
I don't know.
literally finish Zelda last night, so
Nice. Hell
it's
yeah.
actually a good time to suggest games to me.
I mean,
I
this is
really
a on the shitter sort of game, right?
I mean, yeah, that's what
Nah,
my
it's
Switch is
2023. I
for.
have a Switch. All my games are on the
Yeah.
shitter games now.
Well, I
Yeah, for
mean,
sure.
but there's still a
So
certain
I get pissed off
mentality.
when I'm playing a PS4 game. I'm like, I have to stop to go to the other room. This is bullshit.
Well, you can get Project Q.
Oh yeah, or you get that. Is that the fucking $200
Yeah,
looks like
$200
a
screen.
mobile phone sellotape to a couple of PlayStation controllers?
Yeah, that everybody can't wait to see how bad it fails because it's the stupidest idea ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they said about the iPad.
Yeah, but you know what? I have an iPad that I don't ever use and I'm about to sell it.
Yeah, I still think the iPad is done.
Okay, I
Yeah,
have
it's
two
like
I've got a
iPads.
computer and a phone. I don't need an in-betweeny.
I've got two iPads, but that's admittedly because the newer one doesn't do the things it should be able to do. So I'm, a backhanded
ugh.
slapping Apple there. Um,
An
going a
iPad would
little.
be it should be an extension of your phone, not like a separate replacement phone. Like it should be designed better than it is. It's just they just took a
I
phone and
have
made
seen
it
the
big.
phones where they like fold like this and then they're like tablet sized.
That could be pretty cool. I mean, I really just recently have realized I like Windows and I don't like Apple stuff as much. So I wish everything was Windows.
On a
I've
laptop,
never been
yeah,
an
I've
Apple guy.
always been Windows on the laptop. So I just kind of stumbled into Appling because that's what they gave us, which I guess is
Well, that's
something
it. And once they
backwards.
get you, it's hard to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So iPad, the thing is, iPads, the reason I stopped using an iPad for music purposes is because iPads force
GarageBand
close.
doesn't work anymore. Is that why?
Well, you can't do multitasking on it. Well, you can't control multitasking if your iPad decides that it's something is using too much memory. It just closes a app in the background. You can't do anything about it, which is
Yeah.
terrible for music because you're going to be running a few things at once
Anyway,
or not.
that's the catch with my newer one is that I basically cannot use it to make music. So, for a couple of
Yeah,
reasons, which
I'm
suck.
done.
Yeah, I
I'm
think I'm
done. I'm
done
just
after
going to
this
buy
one.
more and more Windows laptops and just be surrounded by laptops.
I'm gonna have a bathroom fight with Apple over my last
Yep.
iPad. Um, Actually, something I do like, despite it being
I'm glad Steve Jobs is dead.
Me too.
being a lunkheaded, not Steve Jobs, but being a lunkheaded exploitation film, because Steve Jobs was not a film.
Hmm.
Um, well, actually, it was a film,
Maybe he is.
wasn't it?
Yeah, I
Twice.
think there were two of them.
There was the
So,
Danny Boyle one and the Ashton Kutcher one. Yeah. But I was
so
going
there's
to.
an
Yeah.
And a
Orson
bunch of thinly
Welles.
veiled ones as well.
Yeah. Orson Welles narration that was left out but put on the director's
No,
cut.
no, no, no,
Oh, I
no.
should
You're he wanted Orson Welles to do the narration and it ended up doing it himself in
oh,
2005. So
that
you're
makes
not.
sense because the reason I could go ahead and explain why I wanted you guys to watch the real actual cut, theatrical cut, is because Walter Hill recut it in the late 90s or early 2000s with all these comic panels because he really wanted people to know that this was fictional and that the violence wasn't real. I think he just sort of lost his mind later on. The thing is, when this film premiered, there was like 3 or 4 people died, like were killed in screenings of this. It actually did get like rough because it was the 70s.
That's so weird because I was watching it in 2023 and thinking like, God, you know what this film is lacking? Violence.
Yeah.
There's all these
It,
scenes of not violence. When violence
yeah.
isn't on the screen, the audience should be asking, "Where's the violence?"
Yeah,
It's just like Exorcist, where Exorcist isn't that scary, but it like freaked people out because the marketing worked so well.
Hmm.
I was just talking from a story point of view, which is why I was mentioning the exploitation stuff. Like the warriors actually know when to run and when to stand their ground. They're actually very good at that.
Hmm.
Like more so than most
Yeah.
people in most movies.
Maybe they should
Yep.
be called the runners.
Yeah, or
Which also would have been a better title for the film because that's what they're doing. It's like trying to do a run, right?
Yeah, it should be called Take Me to Back to Coney Island Before This Guy Stabs Me.
In recent years,
Actually
there
terrible.
actually has been a Warriors Run in New York where people do
Yeah,
run
I saw
from
that
the
on
Bronx to
Wikipedia.
Coney Island. So
That's awesome.
you can crack those
Uh,
15 miles mark if you want.
Great. Yeah, I'll just run 15 miles real quick.
I- okay,
Definitely can do that.
is it just a run or do they have like people chasing you? I think that would be an important part of it. Like people chase you on this
Probably
run.
just a run, but I bet they put costumes on.
They're throwing bats at your legs.
Yeah. They need people
You have to
chasing
go
you
as a
to
themed gang.
keep you motivated. Oh, I'm sure you would. Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
I'm
Okay, well, here's the question: if you're forming your warrior style street gang, what's your theme?
the
Oh, that's a good question. It requires some thinking, which is why I'm stalling by saying this.
So my shtick has always been I wear a lot of bright colors and I like pink. So,
The
and that's also how I
Marios.
always design my characters in like video games, right? That's why I first started wearing pink. Was because when I was playing Halo, I was like, right, how am I going to be unique? Everyone else is trying to look cool and badass. I'm going to make the most bright neon pink Spartan I can make.
Well, that's
And then
actually kind
I
of
kept doing it semi-ironically until pink just actually became my favorite color.
let's say that's actually kind of a bragging rights thing because when I was first playing Halo Online, everyone was choosing like brown Spartans, so you couldn't see them. So you
Yeah,
were
yeah, yeah.
intentionally giving yourself a disadvantage by making yourself like stick out. So you're sort of like, yeah, look at me. I'm sort of doing that in Halo Infinite when I play it. I have like a pink mohawk because I'm like,
Sick.
yeah, look at that.
And then yeah, when me and my friends played Mass Effect online, we all had matching bright pink armor, and
Hell
we
yeah.
looked pretty boss. So yeah, that would be my aesthetic. Cool, like the
I
neons or something.
I would just be like a gang of people who were dressed nice and then have ADHD.
Mine's going to be the
And
hooligans, and they're all wearing like old timey sailor costumes and stuff.
it's
Yes.
pretty cool.
Well, like the stripy vest and t-shirt, vest and short swimming costumes
Yeah,
with the straw hat.
and they're going to carry the big lollies, but that's what they
Yes.
hide their knife behind the big lolly. So in the
And they
big
just
lolly,
pummel you with the lolly.
or maybe the lolly's actually on a knife, so they just pull it out of the
Mm.
lolly and then stab you, and you get sugar
Yeah.
poisoning too because there's so much sugar on the knife. Is that how it
Yeah,
works?
my answer sucks now. Okay, my gang is now has a vat of acid and they roll around with a vat of acid and they dump the vat of acid on somebody and then they run away
That kind of
because
makes
they
me
don't
think
have
of
acid
the
anymore.
that makes me think of the blood dumpster from Space Ghost.
Yes, exactly.
What is the character's name?
I forget.
It's the Mantis guy, and he's gonna get a spin-off TV show where he just
Zorak.
where he puts
Yeah.
people in the sewers and chases them with his blood dumpster, which is like a wheelchair with like spinning blades and shit. That'd be a cool gang. Yeah, the blood dumpsters.
Yeah,
Okay.
blood dumpsters.
That wouldn't be my gang though. Mine is the hooligans. So
Mine is we have a vat of acid gang.
The chemists.
The chemist, yeah.
that's kind of a Breaking Bad thing, isn't it?
Yep.
Everyone
Yeah,
shows
we all
up
Everyone's got
in
dress
a
like
a
K.
Breaking Bad.
flannel shirt and their underwear. They're tidy whities. That's the gang colors.
Nah, I don't want to just rip off Breaking Bad. I want to be sort of original.
But that wasn't
Oh,
yours
see,
anyway.
I
We're just
assumed
riffing.
you were ripping off Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I guess I sort of am. I'm just ripping off sci-fi in general.
Hmm. I'm
Because
not.
My
much
gang
of an
is the
exception.
Trekkies. We're all in Star Trek uniforms. The gangs beat the shit out of us.
Is it?
Because we always
Yeah.
try and fight by doing a two-fisted punch, and that's not actually effective.
You're like all wearing outfits from different series.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't coordinate.
Just
Yeah.
have laser pointers since phasers aren't a real thing. I mean,
4 of us have laser pointers, and then one of us just bought a fucking revolver.
Oh yeah.
We're like, phasers to stun.
damn, those Trekkies are dangerous. That doesn't look like a phaser burn.
Matt,
So-
you know Tori at South School.
Oh yeah.
Recently, his thing has been we're doing little arts and crafts projects where I make him weapons from Fortnite.
Right.
But then this week, he wanted me to make him a very specific World War II Japanese officer revolver.
I should note that this is one of the kids that when I see them around, I make sure to stand sideways around them, so as not to
Okay.
get a sudden punch to the nuts.
Jesus. Well, now he's gonna pistol whip you with the revolver.
Yeah.
Fortunately,
You're
it's made out
nuts.
paper.
Oh, that's good.
I get pistol whipped with paper. That's fine.
You might get a paper cut.
I should probably
Yeah,
stop
true.
mentioning like students by name on podcasts. I did it on the Zelda one the other day as well.
Oh, okay.
You can just beep it out.
Well, I
Yeah,
only have
it
my
sounds like
Twilight
effort.
Zone beep. Yeah,
Matt
I
can
only have my
beep it out.
Twilight Zone beep. That's all I
You
have.
can use that. Who cares?
Mm.
Use the sound of someone getting punched from the Warriors.
That's way too much work. Well, that's the thing. You
But,
said there's not
Mark,
that
I
much
don't know
violence.
I don't know if you'll find this disappointing, but do you know what this film and its gangs mostly reminded me of?
What?
The gangs in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
That's great.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. I can go with that. Like as much as especially don't really dig Batman and Robin, I definitely like the gangs in it. Which who gets which famous is it a rapper gets a gang in there? Which one is it?
I can't
Coolio
remember.
or something.
Yeah, I think it's Coolio. Yeah, that's cool, Leo.
But the thing about like this movie is such a Halloween movie without being implicitly a Halloween movie, and all those Batman movies are Halloween movies,
Because
Mm.
they're in
the campy
costumes.
ones.
Did they actually say this is
It's
October
just
31st?
Halloweeny.
Okay.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. It just feels like Halloween
Okay,
because
because
it's
I
a
didn't
bunch of
come out
people
with that.
dressed up out at night,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
bumping
I
into
guess.
other groups with a different theme.
Yeah,
Sometimes
scary
having a good
clowns.
time, sometimes having a bad time.
I just assumed that's how
Yeah.
everyone dressed in the 70s.
This isn't the 70s, so this is the future.
Well,
This is a
made in the
dystopian
70s. So
future
they were like,
film.
the
See,
cost.
I didn't get that at all. I just thought this is what New York was like in the 70s.
I think
It's
this is what
a
New York was like in the
it
70s.
doesn't really succeed at that. I mean, it probably would have been perfectly obvious if you saw it in 1979, but it's one of those things
Mm.
where you can't. But at the same time, I love that because it's so much more effective to do a futuristic movie if you don't go super far in the future or try to be like
Yeah, yeah,
Demolition Man, where it's like it's 1996 and we can cryogenically freeze people now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Running Man. That's just a game
Running
show.
Man,
Yeah.
yeah,
All these
Yeah, we don't
men.
see much of the life outside the game show,
The Warrior
other than
Mans.
America has become a dystopia. Lucky that didn't happen.
yeah, yeah. But the thing about the Running Man that's unrealistic is that no network would pay for a show that nice.
That it assumed that streaming would, if the networks had kept been able to stay on top of things, we would have that TV show. Streaming just killed it, right?
Yeah, it would just be like a cheap thing where it would be a CGI blade that looked like it killed somebody, and then they just drag them off screen and shoot them in the head.
Okay, so I did write for the fight with the punks. My note is fuck up with the violence. So I guess
Mhm.
yeah, that was
Well, yeah,
cool.
when the violence came, it was fun.
Yeah,
It's just a
that's
lot of the film is spent more on like tension and avoiding fighting.
It is, which is
Like you're
smart
saying, they're
from a
actually smart enough not to fight most of the time.
I
Whereas
yeah.
I
There's
was
a
fully expecting just like 10 minutes of setup and then 18 minutes of just punch ups with different gangs.
I
that would
mean
have been
that
cool,
might
but
have been the Michael Bay version if that ever got made.
I
Which
was disappointed that we did not get a full on beach brawl. I mean, narratively it makes sense, and yes, it makes the
but
Warriors like a little sharper. But I want a beach brawl.
but it was cool shit how he just threw a knife at that dude's arm and he like
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I wanted
he
like 20 more things like that in a beach brawl.
he brought a
yeah,
knife to a
it was a
gunfight and
cool
it
film.
worked.
It's just a slightly different cool film than I was expecting.
Mm.
Yeah, it's more of
It was
a, slow
almost a
burn.
smarter film than I was expecting.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
what did Waterhill go on to
it's
make? 48 hours movies. He made
yeah.
Streets of Fire. That's definitely a cousin to this one.
Yeah.
You guys seen Streets of Fire?
I don't think I have actually. Is
It's
that
like
Willem Dafoe in it?
I think it does. It's been a while since I've seen it. Our mutual friend Devin made me watch it once because it basically has this ridiculous, like, they go all in with this 80s/50s kind of like stray cats aesthetic with the gang violence, which is bizarre. So it's kind of like watching like a youth violence Dick Tracy or something.
Well, interestingly, the which I didn't know until I read all this IMDb trivia, was the writer of the book. I think his name is Sol Uric. He wrote this book as a rebuttal to West Side Story. He was like, West Side Story is based on his experience as a New York City welfare department worker. So that itself is pretty cool because I I like the music in West Side Story, but
I was
the
about to
movie
say,
is
did he have to
super
cut the
cheesy.
tunes?
The movie version of West Side Story, I think, is really cheesy.
Okay, me and West Side Story is a
The
little
first one.
weird. I never got into like listening to it really, right? I mean,
Mhm.
I've never seen the movie in any form, but I have played the orchestral mashup of the tunes like 10 times with orchestras.
Hmm.
So I've played the music a ton, but I've never watched it and never actually listened to it. So that's where I am with that.
I
Did
should
you
see the
dig The
Spielberg
Warriors the
movie.
musical?
Sure.
That's West Side Story, right? So
No, no, but
No.
specifically The Warriors with the same amount of violence
I,
and the same exact plot.
oh God, yeah, that'd be great.
yes.
They do that with is there maybe there is one for all I know. It sounds like something that someone would have done already.
Like they put 70s music into it, and it's like nowhere to run, and everybody's just doing a nowhere to run, nowhere to hide dance number.
Yeah,
That'd
and
be
then
cool.
they Blitzkrieg Bop for the punks, right? I feel like
Sure.
we have to keep it American punks because they're in New York City. But
Well, do I have to read a 1-star review of this, I
take
guess?
take me out to the ball game for the
Yes.
baseball. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be kind of Clockwork Orangey, I guess. But they'd use the bats in the musical, right? Let's not just do a cock tease with those bats. A
I
bat
feel like
tease,
there is a
those
movie
cocks.
with where that song plays and someone gets hit with a baseball bat, and I
I'm
can't
sure.
remember. Was it The
Yeah,
Untouchables?
maybe it could have been this one. That is a flaw in this movie.
It's all slow motion.
I don't remember
Uh,
that from The Untouchables. I only saw it fairly recently.
So
I
that
say
could be
fairly
wrong.
recently, like 18 months ago.
I guess
it's De
that's fairly
Palma, man. I
recent.
love De Palma. I don't like Kevin Costner, but it succeeds in spite of him, I think.
You're
I
not
mean, he's well
the,
cast in that.
the postman's not your hero.
No,
He's not
he
the hero
cannot
you
bring me
need.
my mail.
You don't
Okay.
like seeing Kevin Costner drink his own piss in Waterworld?
Okay, well maybe, but that has Dennis Hopper in it, so it's like Dennis Hopper would cancel him out, I think.
And you should, and that's one where you're not supposed to see the movie. You're just supposed to go see the stunt show, which is apparently really good. Like it's still
Yeah, it
running.
was there when we went to USJ, but we didn't see it. Kind
Oh,
of wish I had.
you missed the true Waterworld experience then.
Yeah. Kevin Costner is one of these guys. He's in a lot of films I like, but I don't think I like him.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing is he has just no charisma. He's like a Jason Patrick.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm sitting here thinking if I actually like him in a movie, and I do like him just getting like instantly blown away in Man of Steel. That's kind of fun because he's just like bye, and then
That was like the worst thing to me because he was just like
so
standing there
stupid.
waiting to die to teach Superman a lesson.
I will
Hey, no
teach
wait,
you a lesson.
you
To
need to
teach
see
him
me
about a
die.
bad lesson that, like, yeah, you should not use your powers to help people.
Well, also that's just insanely unrealistic. Like nobody's going to be like, "No, you can't use your powers. I'll risk my life."
No,
Like people
I'll
don't
commit my life to death. I mean, there's no way he's getting out of that, right?
that's a
There's no
pet peeve of
risk
mine.
involved. He just stood there and died.
Yeah, cuz
To
that
teach
was
you a
what the
lesson.
movie. Yeah, it was time for him to die, so he stood there and died. Like that was the extent of it. I hate when movies are totally unrealistic about what people would actually people people are not usually suicidal like normal and under normal circumstances. Like, do you remember in
Hmm.
Prometheus when there was one scene where the guys are in like a shuttle and they're trying to get away and the whatever the black goop is trying to kill them and they're just like, yeah, fuck it, and they just crash the helicopter like suddenly for no reason.
People make
Anyway,
weird
that
decisions
happened.
in
No.
that movie.
Yeah, there are weird
Yeah,
decisions.
the literal mapping expert is gets lost. So
Or Black Panther when Killmonger is like, nah, man, don't heal me. I'm fine. I'm just gonna die. Like
I
that's
thought that moment
ridiculous.
was pretty good.
It was poignant. I think
It was
maybe it was
poignant
just
for
there were
the
too
team.
many dead villains in those movies. And just like just
But Black
and they brought him back anyway, in a way.
Killmonger is the ultimate, like, oh shit, our villain is correct. Better make him do a few extra evil things.
Maybe that's why they killed him. They had to get rid of him and so he didn't start like socialism in Wakanda or something.
Yeah, like literally. That's what I'm saying. The film
Yeah.
had to kill him because they accidentally made their good guy make more sense. The bad guy make more sense than their good guy.
Yeah. And now we've just got Bob Iger ruining everything.
And then people were complaining about Avatar because like their villain was too on the nose. I'm like, no, it's just because that's what actual villains are like. But most of the Hollywood films are like they want to have a hero who protects the status quo, so they have to make all their villains jump through all these hoops. Whereas, like, no, actually, the villain is just a military-industrial complex, and you should burn it all down.
Just give me a bad guy. Hey,
Yeah.
did you guys watch the Shredder video I sent you?
Yes, it was insane.
The end was the best. It's one of the best villain responses because when he finishes the song, I hate music, and then you just instantly hear a bunch of 10-year-old boys going, "Boo!" That was oh my. So if you didn't make it to the end, the last 3 seconds of the video was actually the best part of the Shredder's "I Hate Music" from the Teenage Mutant Ninja
I
Ninja
mean, I
Turtles
think
coming
that
out of our shells tour. Sorry, I had a lot of words spit out.
Oh, I just think the best part was when the shredder took a CD and put it into a shredder while he did a song called "I Hate Music" that was a music song.
Yeah, I know. That's why I sent it to you. It's
He put
fantastic.
the shredder put music into shredder while he's sang music about music, music.
Well, it was 1992, so it was probably a bunch of old white guys being like, "Well, he's rapping, so it's not music."
Actually, yeah, I hadn't even thought about that.
And he only hates music because the Turtles have decided to start a band. We don't know what the Shredder thought a few months earlier. If maybe he liked to listen to city pop or something. We don't know.
He was always worried about his enemies starting to make music because he always hated it. He was like, they would do something like this.
The Foot Clan would have been cool in this movie. Yeah,
Absolutely. The Foot Clan would fit right in.
with Shredder, yeah, they'd fit right in. The
I mean,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would not because they're not people. But um,
well, what if you just put the Ninja Turtles in this in place of the Warriors? That would work, right?
is that 1990 movie basically?
I was gonna
They
say there
probably
probably
made
has
that
been a
kinda.
Ninja Turtles movie with that plot.
Yeah, it was kind of they were hiding and running. I guess they weren't getting arrested or anything, but
So there's a double feature: the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1990, and the Warriors. It makes sense. Yeah.
yeah,
Turtles have cooler costumes, although they are running around naked, basically. I guess when you think about it.
that
Matt,
was
what
like
is your beef with pronouncing the middle R in the word warriors?
Warriors.
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 It's his mid whatever
Is it
Vermont accent.
Southern accent?
Vermont. Not. I think he's claiming the
Where's your Delaware?
Delaware-ish,
Your Delaware
Delaware-ish,
accent?
Jersey. I guess Jersey's its own thing, but
The Warriors would not like you if you're from Jersey, man.
I'm not. This is more south. I'm not from there. I was
Well,
born in Atlanta. But he's talking about where my family's from. But I
yeah,
guess you
none of
pick
us
up
have accents because
That's a
Atlanta's like
very
Atlanta.
American thing to say. I
Yeah,
don't have an accent.
he means because Atlanta's like an oasis. Because if you
com-
drive 20 miles in any direction away from Atlanta, you're gonna get a whole lot of people talking like this, and need having them
well,
fixing stuff.
You don't
well,
have
it's
that
a
specific accent.
yeah. There's a.
Everyone
I
has an
mean,
accent.
my mom moved to Washington D.C. when she was a teenager, and she has this accent where she's tried to get rid of her southern accent with mixed results. So she's always had this weird like, I don't want to sound like a southerner accent. So
I
that's
don't.
what I grew up absorbing, and also just New York stuff. Like my
Yeah, that
accent is kind of New Yorkish because so much media I consumed was like rap, all of New York when in the 80s.
well, living in Atlanta, especially having a southern accent is kind of like a badge of I'm going rednecking on the weekends, right?
Hmm.
I mean,
There are
most of the people
exceptions
I
for
know
sure.
who have accents, most people I know who have southern accents did not grow up in Atlanta, and a lot of the ones I know who don't have southern accents grew up outside of Atlanta. So it's and moved into Atlanta. It's weird. I don't know if I'll have anyone to guest on this podcast. Oh yeah, maybe one. We'll
Okay.
see. Maybe you'll get an accent. Look forward
Well,
to that.
low explains you always get an accent, but you're talking the southern
Yeah,
Yeah,
accent,
you're
everyone
so
right.
has an accent.
Everyone
just
has an accent.
just to specify the southern accent. Um,
Yes.
you said you had a one
I
star
just try
review.
to enunciate things so everyone can understand them if they speak English
Mm. You say you got a
Mm.
or
a
understand
onesie for us.
English. Oh, I was trying to
Oh, I thought that was
decide
like
from these, and they're
you're
all bad.
deciding.
Um, okay, well they're all low effort and not hilariously.
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay, here we go. Don't waste your time, please, by Elmer LFP. One of the most mind-numbingly awful movies I've ever seen. This film masquerades as a gritty battle of New York City gangs in which a noble few, the Warriors, make their way through daunting odds to their home turf on Coney Island. In reality, this is a microcosm of everything that is destroying America. Number one, obsession with New York City, which for the past 50 years has degenerated in the most pathetic cesspool in America, although it still fancies itself the Big Apple. Number two, romanticizing thuggery and debauchery. Number three, silly obsession with the lowest and most idiotic people who have about as much in common with ancient Greek heroes, see opening sequence, as Homer has with such frauds as Jack Kerouac or Maya Angelou. The time wasted on this movie would be better spent reading a good book, napping, or playing with your dog. 15 of 43 found this helpful.
So at least what we watched gets rid of one of those points because we did not get the Greek intro.
Yeah.
Okay, so he could. So really, he could give this movie a 2 because we just knocked out one of his 5 points. Was it 5?
I think he would be mad that we watched
I
it.
mean, I don't want to take any advice or input from a guy who throws in little, throws a little insult to Maya Angelou in the middle of his review.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Exactly.
think this might be
We
a
know.
person whose opinions are not worth listening to.
Yeah, thuggery is also suspect.
And debauchery, thuggery and debauchery.
Debauchery.
Don't forget the debauchery. That's important.
And the idea that this was written in 2012, like the idea that New York City has degenerated from 1962 to 2012, dude, New York City was legitimately terrifyingly dangerous in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, they
and 80s.
Disneyfied it, right?
Yeah, if anything, they destroyed it by Disneyfying it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I remember reading a critique of superhero films that, like, for superhero films to make sense, they always have to pretend that crime rates are on the rise, but actually they're almost always going down.
Yeah. Yeah, I love to make that point on Reddit, and then sometimes people are nice about it, and sometimes people are like, well, I saw my neighbor get robbed, so crime is up. Like, people just, that's genuinely how Americans think sometimes, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, what am I?
Well, yeah,
what can I
that's
do?
how the news pulls it off, right? Is by just if you just tell one scary story a day, that's enough to keep people thinking that there's lots of scary things happening.
Yeah, I mean,
Japan,
that's why this is an exploitation movie, is because this is absurd. This movie is absurd. There is not
There's not
60,000 gang members.
60,000 gang members ready to conquer New York at a moment's notice.
in five
Yeah,
in the
walking
near
around in clown
future.
outfits.
In the near future, there could be.
Well,
No, most of the crime news in Japan these days are like geriatric people stabbing other geriatrics over petty arguments.
even that's probably down over time. But yeah, people tell you their crime experience, and you're supposed to be, well, I see your point. Crime is up, because if you tell them, well, statistics have nothing to do with your personal experience, then you're suddenly an asshole or something. It's
Our
just
car radio was stolen while we were in the Toko Hills Theater watching City Slickers.
my car stereo was stolen in front of my house.
It
Anyway.
reminds me of in the days before Brexit, when I would post some like interesting, fact or statistic, and the reply I'd get on Facebook is like, "Oh, great, more statistics," and I'm like, "You don't want to base your beliefs on facts?" Like, okay.
Although you can play with statistics if you want to, quite a bit.
Yeah, but like,
The Rock loves to. That's why all of his movies are very successful. That's why Black Adam was a hit.
Yeah, 100% of people who saw Black Adam loved it. Here's a graph, and it's just this red circle. I'm the Rock.
But you can't argue with the Rock, can you?
I mean, I could if he'd listen to me, but he won't.
Well, what would you say to the Rock?
I'd say
it doesn't matter what you'd say to the Rock.
It doesn't matter. I'd be like, can you go fight mankind again, please? That'd be pretty cool. Make that a movie.
I miss It Doesn't Matter. It Doesn't Matter. It was great.
Yeah.
Bringing it back.
Fight all mankind. Yes, that would be a good mini-series or documentary or something.
Matt, go to YouTube and look up Mankind versus The Rock.
Okay.
Just do it. Just do it.
Not into second.
Mankind was an unhinged wrestler who wore a crazy like mask and a gimp outfit, and his special move was taking a sock and shoving it in someone's throat.
Throat, not just the mouth. Okay.
Well, mouth, yeah.
I mean, he put it pretty far down that throat. So
yeah, he would get it as far down their throat as they would let him, probably.
That's as much as they'll let me.
Have you ever seen the clip of the Shocker, Mark?
The Shocker?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Does he get people in the back in the front?
It's like it's meant to be this big reveal of a new wrestler, and it's just a big fat guy in a sparkly stormtrooper helmet. and he bashes through like a paper wall, and then the helmet falls off.
That's awesome. I'm gonna
Well, it's
watch that as
It's
soon
shocking.
as we're done.
the first and last appearance of the Shocker.
Oh, even the Shockmaster?
Oh, it might be Shockmaster. Yeah, you might be right.
Okay. No, I'm gonna watch that as soon as we're done. I'm the whatever screenshot from it that's on YouTube. The thumbnail is amazing.
If instantly failed live characters are always fun. There was one also where when the Mighty Ducks hockey team had their premiere, they actually got rid of their mascot like halfway through the presentation because everyone hated the mascot so much. Like he doesn't show up in the second half because it was clear that nobody liked the character. The guy himself, was he had a job to do and did the job they told him to do, and nobody liked it.
I've only seen Monster Trucks one time, and something happened at the end that was one of the most amazing thing I think the whole night was some evil truck came out and there was like the screen had the name of the truck. I don't remember what the name of the truck was, but this crazy scary music played. It was like dun, 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 dun. And the truck came out and started kind of like crushing stuff, and then it drove really close to one of the trucks from previous in the night and sort of clipped it, and then it just stopped, and it just sat there, and it sat there for probably 3 minutes, and the scary music kept playing, and then it just turned around and left.
Well, they jump started it. Good for them.
No, I mean, I think that they hit someone's car by mistake, and they were like, "Oh shit, what do I do? What do I do?"
I guess we should start closing this one down unless someone has a something they want to go warring about.
No, I feel like after
Warriors.
the rant we gave to Once Upon a Time in America, what is different between that film and this film, considering they both feature a cast of assholes and sex pests?
This one's fun, and the sex pest instantly gets handcuffed.
Yeah, the sex pest
Yeah, I
is a
think that's
shithead
a
the
big part
entire
of it.
time. So that does work, and he gets arrested, and you don't feel bad for him. So at least this movie feels like it has
But
more of a
even
heart than
Swan,
that.
like at one point, says to Mercy, "Maybe we should run a train on you. I bet you'd like it."
Yeah. I mean, there's some toxic bullshit going on, but
They drop
it
the F
feels
slur
like,
a lot.
yeah,
But I
but I
mean,
think
it's
that's
also, I
mostly
think
Ajax, right?
it is like, yeah, I think you're right. Actually, it's mostly him who says that. I think it is kind of meant to parody like that toxic kind of masculinity.
Yeah. It's
That might be part of why this film, and like, yeah, it's an exploitation film. It's not pretending to be high art, and it doesn't have like
it's
sad, mournful bits where you're meant to feel sorry for Ajax.
yeah, I admit it is kind of problematic, but at the same time it feels at least a little bit like it feels like the film itself isn't telling you that all the stuff these people are doing is cool, and you feel like maybe
Hmm.
Swan is just saying that he'd run a train on her just to be a dick, and it
Oh
has
yeah,
no
yeah.
intention of actually doing it. But
But
I
like
like,
his actions don't seem that way, right?
yeah, but it's like, who knows? Like you were saying, we don't know what these people are like after because I'm sure if you play the PlayStation game, it's like you beat the shit out of 100 people and
Yep,
for
yep, yep.
nothing.
From what I understand, the game's mostly prequel, and then the very end of it's like the movie, basically. Like
Yeah,
as
I
far
don't
as the
remember.
situations you're in. I mean, I haven't played it. I'm just going by what I read, right?
I had it and I just sort of dabbled and didn't really during when that game came out, I think I was just playing Burnout 3 like all the time and nothing else.
Oh, that's a good game, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Mark Malik, the dabbler.
Yeah, I
maybe
deserve to get arrested.
maybe it is like we were also talking about Once Upon a Time in America. At least I was throwing out my platonic idea of the gangster film is like many people's Goodfellas and Casinos, which takes a bit of the Warriors, takes a bit of the Once Upon a Time in America, and then the Godfather, and makes like a pop culture artifact out of it, right?
Yeah. I don't know how much the Warriors directly influenced a lot of the 80s stuff, but
I'm just
it was
talking
a
like the
film
flavor,
of its time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it certainly influenced the exploitation. I think the exploitation had some voice in Goodfellas Casino, because I feel like that's the special sauce that makes those. Again, I don't know. That might not at all be what he was thinking, but that's just how I how it feels, man.
It felt like it definitely influenced like Tony Scott and Michael Bay somewhat. Like their styles feel like they kind of move in that way, or maybe it's Walter Hill that influenced them
Or
because it
maybe it's
felt
just
like
me. Oh, go ahead.
I was saying that it felt like Top Gun sometimes, like the pacing of it.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think it was about Top Gun watching this, but sure, why not?
Oh, just the pacing, the editing, the well, Top Gun is. Have you watched Top Gun recently? It's a very dark, shadowed, shrouded movie.
Probably watched it 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, but so not
It
like.
played in the theater a couple years ago, so I saw it fairly recently, and I've watched it many times.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the new one, but I'm sure that is not
Oh
like
man,
that.
it'd be up your street.
Yeah,
I probably should.
new one is
There's a
good.
bunch. Well, I heard the new Mission Impossible is apparently like a Kojima movie or something.
I might go
Have you
see that
seen
this weekend.
this?
The
Maybe.
only thing I
Kinda.
saw, so there was like a headline from a review that was like, "Incredible stunts can't save this film's terrible plot," and then the quote tweet was just like, "I bet they can."
Well, I'll
Yeah,
get
I
back to
gotta
you on that.
admit, the last. I mean, Tom Cruise is a villain for sure, but man, the last Mission Impossible was pretty decent. Like,
Listen, if he could keep building an entire film career on the next insane stunt he wants to do, I'm all for it.
yeah, I mean the whole that possibly had a better bathroom fight than the Warriors.
I've seen bits of that bathroom fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It's
I've
pretty
only
sick.
seen the first three Mission Impossibles, so I basically stopped before they got good. Is what I read
I
from the
like the
review.
first one, but yeah, it's different. It's a different thing.
The second one's like where I hated it in the theater, and then when I watched it again many years later, I enjoyed it because basically I knew I was getting into this second time, I guess, and I could have fun with it.
I mean,
So
it's John Woo. I mean, he was fresh off Face Off, I think,
yeah.
right?
Also, at that point, I mean, you have the TV series, of course, but you only have Mission Impossible 1 and 2, so it's 1 or 2. Now, when you have like six,
Hmm.
2 is like its own thing,
Mm.
and it's kind of fun. I guess that's kind of the Tokyo Drift of Fast and Furious movies or something.
When
I
I
don't
was a
know.
kid, all the racing boys fucking loved Tokyo Drift. They would all tell you that was the best one.
Well,
And it's just because it's the one that's mostly actually about street racing.
the cop in this movie that arrests Ajax does do a Tokyo drift before he gets out of his car, which is pretty cool. He just drifts. I haven't seen any Fast and Furious movies, but I love drifting in game.
Oh, you should
I'm
watch
a
that.
big drifter. Yeah, I should watch. I should watch all of them.
Matt also hasn't seen any of the Fast and Furious movies. So neither of you has any business having a film podcast when you've never even seen cinema.
You're right. A friend of mine shared me just a clip from Hobbs and Shaw, and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I should."
Hobbs and Shaw is the one Matt has seen.
I have
Hobbs and
seen
Shaw's
that.
great. The final act is just three bald men punching each other in the rain in slow motion. Damn it, it's incredible.
The
It
problem
was
is,
some scene where Jason Statham and The Rock were just like killing people and just looking at each other, like killing their way through a security checkpoint. I was just like, "This is incredible. This is great."
my flaw is I
Where they're
keep putting
both on
on.
either side of the glass.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
amazing.
My flaw is I keep trying to put on 5, 6, 7, or 8, but I'll do it like 1 in the morning and pass out in 15 minutes and then never get back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
while it's on, it's fun. Yeah. But I need to double
In
down
8,
on it.
there's a bit where they're having a car chase on top of like a glacier and a submarine's chasing them, and the submarine shoots a torpedo at the Rock's Jeep. So the Rock hangs out of his Jeep and redirects the torpedo to hit a bad guy's car.
That's
And in Hobbs and
amazing.
Shaw, there's a bit where the Rock pulls a helicopter out of the sky with a chain.
Yeah, I gotta do this. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I should watch all of those movies and then tweet about them or something. But I think someone's already done that 100 times. I think
Mhm.
watching it's some kind of rite of passage for humans to watch all those movies and talk about them.
One of my favorite things that's happened in Japan. We all went into this like little like gastro bar place, and they had some Japanese TV on. And like 10 minutes after we'd sat down, they'd switched all their TVs to playing the first Fast and Furious movie. And we were like, wait, shit, did they just see white people walk in and put Fast and Furious on?
No, they put on Wild Speed.
That's true, they did put on Wild Speed.
That's what it's called. That's such a better name. Oh well.
It's called, and the sequels get even more. It's like Wild Speed, Wild Speed, Max, Wild Speed Super Max, and then Hobbs and Shaw is called Wild Speed Super Combo.
That's great. God, sounds like delicious meals from Speedway. I
Sometimes the
guess.
Japanese titles, like again, like last night, a kid's talking about how he likes to play Biohazard, right? So I got to be like, well, it's called
Uh-huh.
Resident Evil in the States, but Biohazard does make more
Did you
sense.
correct him? Did you correct him and tell him actually it's called Resident Evil?
I said
Did you
that's
do
the
that?
I told him that's the name
Oh.
of the States, but then I went back to letting him say Biohazard because it makes a lot more sense to call it Biohazard.
Yeah, because Biohazard was like a band in the US, so they couldn't use that. But
Yeah.
the fun thing is
Biohazard,
that
Resident Evil makes sense for the first one, then not for most of the sequels.
that's true. You're not in a house like almost ever. The fun thing is that Resident Evil 7 is called Resident Evil 7 Biohazard here.
And in
And
Japan, it's called
in Japan.
Biohazard 7 Resident Evil. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, it should
Yeah.
be called Biohazard in Japan. That would be better.
Sure, why not? Biohazard super combo.
Well, we should probably run this one down since the Warriors have long since made to Coney Island.
Well,
All
listeners,
right.
if you want to run a train on us, head on over to patreon.com/podcastia.
Yeah, remember I wear a mattress on my back.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut it there. That makes sense.
Okay, sure.
Wear a mattress on my back. That's a good way to do it. Let me hit the stop button.